Everybody, this is Perch. There's a lot of rejection over diverse characters or marginalized characters by a segment of the fan base. Not all of them, not all of the customers. Some people accept it, some people do not. But there is this kind of knee-jerk, rejection. A lot of those characters. Now, why is that? Why do some of these characters have so much struggle? I am sure that of all the people that are rejecting it, yes, some of them are bigots, racists, all those awful things. Absolutely. But I don't think it's the majority. I don't think it's even a big majority. I think in many cases it's exhaustion. It's what I've said before. It's people who don't like the feeling like something's being shoved down their throat. They like, or maybe cases it's as simple as, yeah, I'm not a racist, I'm not a bigot, but I like Clark Kent Superman, and I have for 40 years. So I just would like more adventures of Superman. And sometimes I saw somebody mention this on Twitter once, and one of the DC artists comes back and goes, "You got 40 years of Superman." You actually got more than that, but okay. You got 40 years of Superman. It's somebody else's turn. It's like, that's a weird answer if you think about it, because DC's publishing, 80 odd books a month. What do you mean it's somebody else's turn? You could give somebody a really solid, good Clark Kent book, and frankly, you are in Action Comics. It's a great book. And you got 79 other books to give somebody else, quote unquote, their turn. That's just a weird. I find that very, very bizarre. This idea of like, nope, there's this predetermined amount of time, and you had the character for that amount of time, and like a divorce, now it's time for you to go live with the other parent. So that's how it is. I don't know, when I see an answer like that, I always think like, this isn't going to get the diverse character over. You're just pissing off, a potential customer. The customers are not going to be like, oh, holy shit, you're right. I have like the same white guy character for a long time, and it is time for me to, in my entertainment escapist fantasy, purchases that I should have to buy something. No, nobody's going to do that. They're going to be like, all right, well, screw you. I'm not buying it. That's what's going to happen. And money disappears. That logic of, you had it for a while, now it's someone else's turn. Again, when you're publishing that volume of comic books, there's enough room for everyone to have a turn. You don't need to start saying this or that. It's just very strange. But anyway, so here's this mail. The mail goes, Dear Perch, nowadays, it seems as though if there is a marginalized character, the movie, TV show, or comic has to talk exclusively about their marginalization. We have to dedicate whole episodes to slavery or systemic racism or queer rights, trans rights, whatever, because of the weak. There seems to be a lack of characters being characters or archetypes. If there's a black demon, he seems more inclined to be fighting police brutality than he is, demons. But you go supernatural to show supernatural, and Sam and Dean are always fighting demons and monsters, and you replace them with a black family, the Jones instead of the Winchesters, and it would still work. I'm ready for all the people in the comments like, no, you can't just replace these people with a black family. No, but the point you're making is correct here, that you could put in a Latino family, you could put in a LGBTQ family, you could put anyone else if you kept the show format the same, meaning monster of the week, demons, they run out, they hunt them down, they kill them, they move on to the next demon, and you kept the story exactly the same. Sam and Dean don't hang out in the show Supernatural and go, we really need to talk about whiteness and what it is to be white. They don't do that. They just fight demons because it's a show designed to just have people fight demons. That's all there is. That's all it needs to be. And so you could replace those characters with any race, ethnicity, gender, whatever it happens to be. And if you kept the plot and the writing the same, meaning you didn't dip into what you were talking about, that'd be fine. I mean, why not? Anyway, I know, we can continue with the mail. I know it came out pre all the woke stuff, but I think it's a fair case. I think you're talking about Supernatural. In Thunderbird's case, recently, I've heard he's fighting cops instead of mutant killers, like the Sentinels, and supervillains like Doom and Juggernaut, something Claremont would have written. Is this because it's hard to write the archetypal stories, or is it some grasp to be deep? It's that one. It's that one in a nutshell. Thanks for the videos. Congratulations on 3,000, you workhorse. 3,000 videos. Yeah, holy shit. It's a lot of videos. Anyway, so this is a problem I think a lot of the diverse characters, marginalized characters have, is that they don't just introduce a diverse or marginalized character, they also have to have the character come in and want to give a speech and really go into kind of what it means to be marginalized, what it means to live that experience. And in some cases it may be accurate, in some cases it may be a stereotype of it. I have many black friends. I work with many black people. I have for a long time. One of my very dearest, closest friends is black. I know how that sounds. I know, but it happened to be true. And we don't, he doesn't sit around talking about, his feelings on police. No, nobody does. Now it's not. I'm sure some people are living that experience. I'm not denying that they're not. I'm just saying that when it's the comic book and it's an escapist fantasy, you need to give these characters more to do than just the one stereotypical thing that you have them do. This is the challenge. Is it winds up creating very one-dimensional characters. It winds up not creating some authentic marginalized character. It emphasizes the marginalized and nothing else. And this does a real disservice for the characters themselves, because people, as it turns out, they don't like to read that over and over and over again. I mean, what would be kind of a breath of fresh air is if in that, Marvel or DC's Pride book, have the character come out, not come out because the character's already, but have the character in the comic just have a kick-ass adventure. 8 pages of just doing something amazing. You don't need to have them talking about their boyfriend, girlfriend. You don't need to have them talking about their sexuality, their race, their gender, any of that. Just have them do something badass, and then the end. And readers might be reading that going, the character never, announced to everyone that they were gay. I wonder why they were in this comic. And the answer is because we wanted to show a gay character just being a badass and doing amazing things. If you were to have Midnighter show up in Pride in a little 6 to 8 page story, make it like, you remember that it was a Snake Eyes issue of G.I. Joe. Larry Hama wrote it. There were no words. And it was a badass issue of him kind of doing infiltration and going and doing really just a cool little special ops mission. Do a comic like that or a story like that featuring Midnighter just doing something badass, undercover, some brutality, him kicking ass, and then at the end he walks out and there's a big explosion behind him because he's blown up the enemy, and that's the comic. You do not need to have him at the end like calling Apollo and going, "Hey honey, what would you like for dinner?" None of that. Just tell a story that lets this character be amazing. The end. Now, by the way, just to be clear, I'm not saying every story has to be that way. I'm not saying you have to hide the fact the character is gay, but that's the awesome part about Midnighter is everybody knows the character is gay. He's married to Apollo. He was in the Authority universe. Who knows? With the New 52 and everything else, are they married? I don't know if they're married anymore. I'm sure it's been stated in a comic book, but they were married at one point, and according to DC Omniverse rules, everything counts. We know he's gay. We know he's married. Just tell a story that shows him being amazing, and you're going to get a lot of people going, wow, this LGBTQ character is amazing. But like the writer says, there's this over-focus on wanting to really dedicate not an episode, but lots of episodes, lots of dialogue, lots of story, lots of plot point, lots of everything to kind of how marginalized they are. And whether you intend it or not, it has the effect of making the readers believe this character is a victim or weak or one-dimensional. They've really got nothing going on other than this identity they keep harping on. And instead of showing pages of them kicking the shit out of Doctor Doom or Darkseid or whatever it happens to be, instead there's lots of pages talking about how tough it is, to be gay. The people who are reading this might be having a hard time. The people who you want to reach, the members of the marginalized community that you want to put out a comic for that allows them to see themselves in the comic. Do they really want to pick up a comic and hear a character down in the dumps and having to deal with a bunch of shit like they are? Maybe they want to pick up the comic like many people do, whether you're straight or gay or male or female or whatever you happen to be. whatever you are, it's common that people like to pick up a comic for an escapist fantasy, to escape their problems, to see something wonderful and amazing. So why not give them that once in a while? This was one of the problems with the America Chavez book, is they made a point to go over the fact that, you know what, she's a lesbian. The Cena Grace Iceman book, it's like, he's gay. Do you know he's gay? He's gay. Character is gay. Hang on a second. It's been 3 pages. We need to remind you, gay. Your readers are smarter than that. They know he's gay. Just move on. Let him do something awesome. In fairness, the Marauders comic, this, I guess, when Jerry Duncan, the Iceman would rarely show up in that comic. But every now and then he would. I mean, they did this silly, stupid thing where he's fighting Fing Fang Foom, and Foom is drunk and acting like a jackass because, it's a villain. So rather than have the villain be a powerful threat, they're going to make him, horny and drunk. And Iceman basically, reveals some of his, mastery over his powers and turns himself into a giant Iceman and just starts beating the shit out of him. And in fairness, it was nice. There was not a joke in there of Iceman, like, he beats him and then he's like, now I'm horny for some men. Because remember, I'm gay. And now I'm super gay because I'm big. I'm a giant gay man. They actually just let him, do cool stuff with his powers. And it was great. I don't know about great. It was good. If the villain had been actually threatening and not a, silly comedy act, it would have been wonderful. Let that happen every now and then. Not every time. You can still tell your truth. You can speak truth to power. You can, share your lived experiences. You can certainly do all that. Absolutely. But don't forget to make your characters awesome in the process. If all your characters are marginalized parodies of themselves, then it gets real old real fast, and people tune out. And it's one of the reasons why a lot of the marginalized characters go nowhere, and why they don't do well, and why it's a big reason why they're not successful. Because you've given the reader nothing else to sink their teeth into. You've given them nothing else to get excited about. You've just gone with gay. And these characters, these characters are worth more than that. Honestly, they are. I don't like every LGBTQ character that has been created. I don't like every straight character that's been created either. Some are okay, some are stupid. But there are some pretty cool characters. I think Wiccan and Hulkling were pretty decent. They were a good shot. You can do interesting magic stuff with Wiccan. How about you give him a little adventure where he has to go out and do some cool magic stuff? And you don't need him every other panel to be pining off like, oh, I wish Teddy was here so I could give him a big kiss because I'm gay. Just let him do something cool. If you let him do something cool, then people are going to gravitate to that character. And this is, insider secret Marvel. If your goal is to get people excited about, LGBTQ characters and diversity and all that kind of stuff, this will do it. There were a lot of people who were legit excited and liked Midnighter and Apollo and Hulkling and Wiccan. They were legitimate fans of those characters, especially Midnighter and Apollo. Do you know what the secret to Midnighter and Apollo and why they got popular and why people like them? It's because they got to be badasses. These characters were awesome. They were blowing people up. Midnighter was like Batman if he had fewer morals and was just into violence. I mean, there was stuff in there that was great. These characters were fun. They had epic moments where they did amazing things. And it turns out people like that. I know it's crazy, but it's true. Anyway, my little bit. So that's that. Thank you very much for the mail. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and thanks for listening.